Welcome everybody to Town Hall meeting number 65. It's September 12th, 2023. And today we're joined by Fly, Devo, Caroline, Ian, Judith, Tommy, and Walter. Thanks for joining everybody. For today's agenda, I flipped around a little bit of the structure. So we'll start out with some mentions, including supervisory council election, which is important enough to earn its additional shout out. Then we'll go over the work groups update, and then there's space for open topics. So yeah, feel free to suggest topics for later on. Nice. We'll leave it in. We can deal with that. Part sounds are good. First a little reminder on what the Ambassador Program even is about. Basically, it's a group of people who are all working together in self-organized work groups, and they aim to contribute to helping the SingularityNet ecosystem grow. And if you're interested in joining out, then you can hop onto our Discord server, and you'll find a Getting Started channel there. And that is all the information you need to get started. As mentioned, I wanted to put an additional shout out to the Supervisory Council election. That's part of the progressive decentralization trajectory SingularityNet is in right now. And the application period is open right now. So if you are or know somebody of which you feel like, this expertise we should really have for SingularityNet, please don't hesitate. And there's a blog post, I'll link it below the video, where you can find all the background information. And the applications are open until October 1st. So you have a little bit more time to go, but I hope that people will propose, and you can do this on the Sway portal, which is also being used for deep funding. So people can also comment and ask questions on there. So if you apply, also after that, keep an eye open for community asking questions. Then another mention, proper sad one, is last week's Discord attack. We lost quite a bunch of channels there, which honestly just sucks. There's no way around that. We are rebuilding. Most of the channels are back in place, but the content of those channels, there's simply no way of retrieving that. So yeah, that's just pretty horrible, to be honest. On the bright side, this will lead to now having the note that we do need to back up everything every now and then. But sadly, that won't give stuff back from previous chats. If you happen to find any channels missing, please call them out, and we'll get it sorted. And then also a mention of deep funding, round 3. It's currently in the stable period where the proposals cannot be changed, but it's still open for community comments. So if you see, if you hop onto the deep funding portal, all inputs are very welcome. Can be positive, can be negative. Just share your opinion on the proposals, please. And there's a lot of them, so yeah. It's record-breaking, 136. Actually, no, the eligibility review is not concluded yet, so we don't have the final eligible amount of proposals. I'm looking forward to see how many that will bring.
You mean comments on Swap platform?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on Sway platform. Usually the teams are quite responsive on there. So if you comment, if it's constructive, you'll also get a constructive reply most of the time. And then something to call out for a session later this week, tomorrow even, at 16 UTC. That would be a session where we go over the code of conduct and hopefully move towards a vote in that session. to implement it. And ahead of, if I may put you on the spot there, could you maybe elaborate a bit? No rush, but you are a little muted still.
So, you know, when you get old, folks, and you don't have AI working for you, sometimes you get stuck in a Discord channel and Zoom pops over it and you try to talk and you find yourself in Discord talking to yourself. That's what just happened. My apologies. We have strategy, and some of the nice folks in the community have been working for it's almost 2 months now, I think, if not longer, on a code of ethics, which we pivoted from to a code of conduct. And there's a number of reasons for it, and we will come back to a code of ethics with AGI. We're going to expand on it, on how humans and AGI can cohab. But right now our focus is code of conduct, and we've gone through so many comments and iterations. I have now come down to edited, and there's if you look in the chat, there is a copy, a link to the document of the final edited document, which we're going to go over in detail if we have time today, but if not tomorrow in strategy. And we want to finalize it, polish it, smooth it, and then bring it out to the community for vote. And along the way with the code of conducts and the code of issues, we have been working for a long time in a little different version on a roles within the ambassador program. Level explorer is the initiate, and then level 2, level 3. But also we recognize, as have been going through these exercises with the C of O and the CFC, is we need a body. If I piss Peter off, if I do something offensive, who does Peter talk to? Who does he bring that? Where do we have dispute resolution? So we need a body. And initially, the term leadership guild or group or work group was thrown out there, but that seems from the verbiage that it gives too much power to that leadership group. This is more dispute resolution, talking with the SC, the foundation if needed. So we've come up with, I like the term mandala, which means circle. Everybody sitting in a circle like around a campfire, but that has some other connotations. So we've come up and kind of settled in on round table. It was used mythically by King Arthur to make sure no one was sitting at the head of the table, that power leadership was distributed around the circle like a mandala. So we've kind of focused in on that group, and we're going to get back to that. But tomorrow we need to settle, finalize, polish the code of conduct. So I'd appreciate if you'd join us, and then we can figure out together, and that's what we do in this ambassador program. Everybody's voice is listened to. No one has necessarily more weight than others. You do have a reputation. The longer you're here, the more trusted your voice becomes, and maybe people listen to you a little bit more, but no one has an unequal voice. So join us tomorrow. It's noon Eastern Standard Time, I think 1600 UTC, Code of Conduct. And I apologize for being so long-winded, but it's my nature. Thanks.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I assume once we agree on the final document, we can then put it to the wider community. So yeah, we might be coming back to that a little bit next week's town hall.
Well, perhaps we can work it out that we actually have the vote in next week's town hall. If we want to do it on a consensus or a Google Doc or Roho, if he's back full time, his area was affected by the earthquake in Morocco, so he's been a little hit or miss this week. But he has been experimenting with voting on and off chain with Clarity DAO and another one. So we'll see next week maybe.
Yep. All right. Yeah, basically, just for context, the reason why I pulled this forward, first of all, I think it's an important document, but also it was part of the pre-town hall party, figuring out, like, so what do we put in the agenda? And this was one of the topics, so I figured, well, let's call it that specifically then. That's basically half an hour before the town hall starts on Discord in the Force channel. There's a bit of agenda discussion and also just casual chit-chat. All right, that brings us to the overview of the work groups. And looking at the current crowd, welcome Musana, thanks for joining. We don't have a representative, so let me double check if, no, this week is the alternating week. So this week there won't be any archival work group session. But on that same slot, Wednesday 13 UTC, there will be a DWork BBL work group. Steffo, can you convince us to join that one?
Perhaps. And in DWork BBL 2 this week, like tomorrow, we will be, some of us probably drafted, at least I did. We had some task distribution 2 weeks ago in specialized work, like lessons now. So previously where we talk about how to use DWork, like background knowledge, like what features there are, what are task points, how to move tasks around, how we can create the task, things like that. Now we're actually looking at even more high level, how do we now use that knowledge to build processes and methodologies that actually make the DWork user faster for us, and special things we are doing in SingularityNet itself. So that's coming along, and if you're interested to just have a quick sneak peek on that, or you're interested to create content or kind of dive yourself into creating lessons, which has also been a quite good experience, because when you're creating teaching material, you're going to learn quite much faster how to actually manage tasks and do bounties in this environment. So yeah. Mostly it's going to be about reviewing the stuff, and I would, if possible, I would also kind of audit the tasks themselves, what we already have in DWork, so we get the contributions across too, and then people can see how the like expected rewards usually that comes from lessons. We pre-planned like 8 hours to each single lesson, but by the looks of it, we basically twice as fast were able to do them. However, we took twice as more meetings to reach to that point. However, we mixed it up with a little bit of coding and sharing how the infrastructure also works, and onboarding took a lot of. So I think it's going great, and yeah, just happy to continue with it.
Absolutely. I think it's, well, it's only the first module right now. Also listening into Education Guild, there's likely a whole bunch of modules coming up, or potential modules to create. Well, we did touch on the strategy workshop. Sorry, my English is breaking down. Just additional reminder: Wednesday, 16 UTC.
We didn't touch process modeling. Actually, the day has now changed.
Yes.
Only this week we have it on Thursday, just before Treasury call. This one will be mainly about actually creating a proposal for process modeling. So we just recently finished the requirements table for work groups and programs that you set up. So we are going to have a bit of like purpose discussion, what we're doing, how do we structure it, what are basically to do the document, perhaps asynchronously share who does what part of the proposal. So it will be a bit of more internal discussion, how do we manage that work group itself. But next week we will start more recurring sessions again on Mondays, 17 UTC. And then the idea there is to start aggregating all these documents, which are like code of conduct. We have some more documents we have in Ambassador program in different spaces, and pulling them into like one source, which most likely going to be a Gitbook. So we plan the sequence, how do we pull them in and how do we introduce these documents. So we have like one place to learn about Ambassador program. So basically it will be more like a system design for Ambassador program. With those who are interested in thinking in like a big picture, what is this place and what are we doing here, and how to, in nuanced details, how do we basically set this up? This will be a call to join. And if you don't like the times, there is still time to go into the Process School channel. There is a recent link to the time schedule, and suggest your times. Let me know that you updated it, and we can always change it. Right now we're just in process to find new times or new date to see if we find more people to join.
Awesome. Just a tiny reminder that right now they're not reflected on the public calendar. So yeah, just a small note there. And let me reiterate on that calendar. It's basically a way to import all the public events of the Ambassador program, also some governance events of SingularityNet itself, to plug it into your own Google Calendar. Walter, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, I guess, solidifying decisions, which is often done through voting, is not a problem until it is. And a big problem becomes eligibility. So I guess what I'm offering, when I first bumped into the governance group just before, all the excitement started, I was surprised that it wasn't working on the ambassadors program governance. It was working on something else. What I would offer is basically, being a bit more rigorous about the process. Now, for the code of conduct, it sounds more like a ratification thing is in order. I don't think people will be in principle against doing good stuff. So it's more a question of just like getting a, kind of concurrence, buy-in, just getting people informed. But for more contentious decisions, I would offer that we should have a bit more rigorous process for eligibility, requirement to vote, counting, consensus, whatever, quorum. So I was kind of sort of hoping to, to assist with that. And so whenever you folks, proper ambassadors, talk amongst yourselves, decide, please, if and when you want to do that. That was my big push for having the ambassador assembly as a governance body, because then in turn we only need to worry, then the eligibility requirement falls aside and it only becomes a question, okay, so is there quorum requirement, on and on. So please, clear some runway so we can start, moving forward, because again, it's all good until the high stakes decisions become contentious, and then it becomes problematic. And having been through that in other organizations, may I suggest that we do that. We set the rules before they become important.
Yeah, fair. I fully agree. On the current list, the governance work group is missing, as it was paused for a couple of iterations, and we had a governance session. It's on the public calendar. We had one earlier today. It was a pretty interesting one. A very nice tool where you're basically interacting with a Discord bot with multiple people at the same time, but you can't see what everybody is saying to the bot. And then based on a couple of guided questions, it would basically digest the consensual answers to that to the questions. So it would figure out where is consent or potential consent. And in my mind, that was could be a great tool. And yeah, just another tiny remark on that. We have had these type of decision-making exercises, figuring out how to deal with what type of decisions. It would make sense in my mind to have the governance work group take another look at that sooner rather than later, because I do agree this needs to be in place before you super strongly need a tool like that. Any other thoughts in the room on that?
Yes, I do, Peter. You're absolutely right. We've had discussions on that. We've had many discussions. I think what Walter is talking about is boilerplating the answers. So we have a solid decision-making process, voting process, quorum, but boilerplated so we know. We've discussed, but we've never written it down necessarily. And if we did, it's disappeared with the D-work attack. And I'll even go as far as with this code of conduct. When we initially started off, everything was being decided within the ambassador's program itself, the ambassador only channel, which was 11 of us. The code of conduct is the first time, I think, that we're looking to bring a decision-making process out of ambassadors only. Maybe we shouldn't. I'd like to hear Walter's viewpoints on that. I don't want to steal your program, but it is a high priority. And who decides this? That was something we were going to discuss in tomorrow's strategy. So maybe we should leave it there. But I think Walter's right. We need to codify this and write it down.
Right. Well, see, this is actually, to me, a good thing being self-organized, is you actually get to decide how you decide and how you seal those decisions. And I think for now, the only status that's already kind of like set is the ambassador status. So that should be the starting point for eligibility. You probably want to clear the backlog. And, I guess if you look at the last 2-3 sets of attendees of this meeting, you'll discover that there is about 6 people that are still showing up. Because I guess my contention is that if you 6 know you are it, then you'll be more empowered to move forward. That those other 5 people are just not really plugged in, and it's up to you to decide. As far as eligibility, if and when those other levels, the 2 levels before ambassador that's been proposed, kind of like a supporter and a contributor or whatever levels, then, once those are set and can be tracked, you can extend eligibility to vote to those categories as well. So that's just because eligibility oftentimes becomes as you know, wars and revolutions have been fought over the right to vote. It turns out that that's actually the most core question is who's allowed to cast the vote. But yeah, I'd say this is a very core component, and I'm not convinced that the current governance group's charter or their self-perceived mandate is to work out the the governance structure for this organization, and rather than waiting for them to, let's just somewhere between strategy and process, and the 6 people who are active should just say, okay, we're going to decide the rules, short and tight and to the point, and then we can amend them in a week's time, right? There is no problem amending. So that's what I would do, is just aim for something sooner, rather than, okay, there is a group called governance, so they should do governance. So, because if they haven't done it by now, if they haven't realized since March that this organization needs a set of governance rules,
No,
then
that's not the
maybe
case.
they won't.
No, that's not the case. We've had plenty of sessions on the topic.
No, but look, if you look at what they're actually worked up, there is no rules of the road for this organization. They were working for a proposal for some future something. I mean, I was blown away when I discovered that.
I'm not sure if I fully agree. I would need to properly know what exact document you're now referring to.
I think the governance work group, what it standard is wanted to map what is actually happening right now, and it came quite well into like writing of what is the current structure, what are the goals of ambassador program. Then a lot of comments happened, and then it turned into like a lot of tasks to be done to kind of make it nice and neat and make it publicly available. And from decision side, yeah, we have had like multiple different work groups, like decision-making methods and who should make, and that's my perspective, but I actually prefer the way it's currently done, because it's then each work group and each guild has their own governance, like self-governance of what they kind of need, and sometimes they are suggesting a change to entire ambassador program which furthers their agenda. But it's always been like, if it's too much demanding, or the decision that is made in that work group, there is always then tension, or like question is rising up, hey, can we compromise? This is not feasible because of this. Reasons are brought up, and it's based on dialogue, how this decision is going to be involved and adopted. And it's less about, hey, let's make sure that everybody votes in and change this line of sentence to something. But it's more of doing the things we're doing that is aligned with the ambassador program. And when we find opportunities to kind of make it easier for everybody, we just come up with an idea, and usually we don't need a decision to ratify in order to proceed. It's just naturally just going to happen. Like if you have the capacity to help to figure out rules what ambassador program should align with, sure, just create a list, and we will can comment, we can change it stuff, and we basically pulled our assets based on the interest of people.
I also have the impression that the governance framework we started on, it's now somewhat paused. It is paused, practically speaking, but not in a way of like, we're never going to look at that and it's a wasted effort, right? Sorry, seeing we're still in the middle of the workgroups update, I think we should continue with that. There will be a bit of room after the workgroups update for open topics, but I do want to ensure that we do have proper time allocated to these updates. And that will bring us to the very next one, being incubation, which is taking place this week, ? I think it is.
Yeah, it's taking place this week. Yeah. Can you hear me better now? Yeah, it's taking place this week. Last week's session was, well, for an introduction for anyone who hasn't been, incubation is like a grassroots platform, a space for us to incubate ideas for the development of the program. Last week we had quite a chilled session with a few people going through kind of having a check-in about how we all are as individuals, our thoughts on the program. There are some considerations that we came up with collectively. And we'll be working with those this week and trying to turn those into kind of tasks on D-Work to engage these new community members. So everyone is welcome to come along to that session. No opinion is, every opinion is valued. And yeah, see you there.
Thank you. And I can confirm it was a very nice session.
Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to the Treasury Guild. A quick peek at the attendance. I think that brings us to Tefo.
Yeah. Treasury Guild is bi-weekly, and that would happen next week. Although we may change it 30 minutes like backwards, because supervisory council meeting might be happening at the half of it, so we might need to change that. So just to be aware, like check the Google Calendar and or Treasury Guild channel when the changes happen. I will notify everybody. Yeah, I guess the main concern, I'm not concerned, our topic will be quarterly budget and the rewards we are using. Right now we have been showing ability to spend monthly budgets of the ambassador program, and we actually need to start coming up with ways how do we make sure we are able to distribute more of these rewards to more people, and yeah, like what are the mechanisms we could use to now increase either the quality with the same budget, or bring down the costs and kind of see. Yeah, basically we need to a bit adjust our expenses in order to keep up with the monthly budgets. And next week is going to be interesting, so I would suggest everybody to join. Although I will be recording that, because we will have dashboards, we're gonna see our timeline, how we spent this year, all the rewards and what has changed. So we have some retrospective data analysis to look into what we have been collecting over the time through D-Work, and see how different work groups differ, what kind of skills are used, how people spend their time, and learn from each other.
Awesome, thank you. And I imagine that will also fit into the quarterly like reviewing on Q3, where we're now working with the funds requests, which in itself is an experiment. Yeah, it's not determined if that will be ongoing for Q4. So that discussion is also, well, needs to happen over the coming weeks while we're still in September. Then that brings us to next one on the list, being the onboarding work group, which I would like to give my compliments to last week's session. Sugar, are you? Yes, you are here. Nice. Well done.
Thank you. Should I go on?
As you wish, yes. Please let us know how it went down.
Hey, hi everyone. So last week we had the first onboarding session, and it was facilitated by myself, Peter, Pedel, and Vanessa. We had an attendance of about 25 persons. And in the session, we discussed core mission of the SingularityNet and its principles. We also talked about the aim of the ambassador program, what its core values are, and also how one can actually become an ambassador. And when you become an ambassador, what's expected of you, and the best way to start on your journey to becoming an ambassador. And after the whole session, we had question and answers, which was interactive, and we got a couple of questions. And some of the questions we got were people asking how they could contribute, how they could get more tasks to be done via the work, and also they made suggestions on things they would like to do, create GIFs, memes, infographics, and tweets about the program. And so in our next meeting, we'll look at all these questions and suggestions and see how we can move forward from there. That was it. It was quite suspect.
Yeah, once again, compliments. It was really nice, and for sure. Well, I got the feeling with all the new faces in the call, it was just great to see, and it felt to me like it wouldn't be the last session like that. It was for repeating.
Yeah, I actually had to prior to the session, we had that hack, so I had to DM personally to those who I knew were new into the program to attend the onboarding session. I think that contributed to having our numbers up, and probably we need to make more announcements during the week before Tuesday for this onboarding for this town hall. Sorry, for the town hall, so people get to know about it earlier and schedule themselves to attend.
Awesome. All right. Anybody else on the onboarding group? I think there were some people in here in that session.
You were there. Fedolf is here.
Shukran did a fantastic job, not a good job, a fantastic job. Well orchestrated, very well pulled together slides. It was, for the first one, to me, it was an overwhelming success. Kudos, Shukran, you're the best.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It wouldn't have been such a success without the help of all of you, and I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Cool. Then next on the list is the AI Sandbox, which is bi-weekly, and it's this week.
Yeah, I guess this one is exactly what it says on the tin. It's an hour session where we explore different AIs, a lot of the time focusing on LLMs and prompt engineering, and applying these strategies, trying to upskill ourselves and apply these strategies to document some things floating around the program, and to add some new ideas, and explore how we can use these tools. So come along. Yay.
I had yesterday a little sandbox session on my own with InVideo, which is pretty intriguing. I can recommend checking it out. And maybe it's something for a session to work with.
Sounds great. Yeah.
It's like you put in the prompt and the video gets generated, like magic, with voiceover, everything, stock images. Quite cool.
Could you put the link in the chat for reference for everyone?
Not right now because I'm screen sharing, but I'll try.
Yeah. Maybe you can put it in the AI Sandbox Discord channel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, sounds great.
I think I made an example video in the Treasury Guild with one of the meeting summaries fed into it, resulting in a pretty okay 30-second short clip. Anyway, sorry for the sidetrack there, but it's a cool tool.
Yeah, great.
Then moving on, we'll get to the writers work group. And Kenichi, can I ask you to tell a little bit about what's up?
Definitely. You guys can hear me, right?
All good, yes.
Yeah. Hello there, everyone. Great to be here. And our update is pretty short, but we made a lot of headway since I shared with the scribblers a bit of an ideation for our focus in the next quarter. That'll be Q4. I feel like if we start setting out the groundwork and the framework for everything, to make the next quarter really easy for us. And also, so our focus for the next quarter is the daily, our quiz and educational series. To give you guys a bit of an understanding of this educational series, we'll be picking tools or any service on our AI marketplace. I will do a walkthrough, we'll kind of like make it like really, really short, like 25, like 250 words, and just with the right images that gives you the understanding of what you need to use the AI marketplace and friendly tools that our community members might want to try out. And also we've kind of like finalized on our trivia that we should make it on Friday. So it's kind of like after all the meetings, during the week, and everyone can just think of it as a way to just have fun and catch up with everyone. Also, we worked on new graphics while doing our recap. We're thinking of going for recap of the town halls, which will include that will be from July and August. So we're going to be doing that will just be like a summary of all the town hall meetings that happened within that period. And looking back on that, it actually brought up the I was reading on our I think that was town hall 54, where we spoke with the Rejuve community and Jasmine, and lots of conversations there. And I also wanted to ask the ambassadors if we were still moving on with our plans, because we had a lot of strategies, a lot of conversations happening in that call, and I feel like we could actually be helping the Rejuve community a lot right now. Also, while doing one of our edits, we realized that if you search on Wikipedia for Ben Godso, there's a lot of information there, but they're only available in about 8 languages, which is a bit small. And we're thinking we should actually transcribe it so that people can come there and they can find like more information and they can translate it easily to other languages. And funny enough, Spanish isn't there. It's just French, I think Dutch, and a few other languages. So we don't have any Spanish translation on information about Ben Godso and SingularityNet. And also we don't have anything on Portuguese. And I was thinking of reaching out to Tivo to see if we can set up a task for the translators, or if we could have a few of the scribblers have a go at it too, since there might be a few technical documents and all also involved. So that's pretty much our update. Yeah, looking forward to the next week and the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. An interesting observation. I would imagine there would be more languages, but yeah, to be continued. Then onward, that brings us to the video work group. It does mention monthly update, but that's from an old copy paste. Apologies, Roho. Don't want to.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Last week we didn't have a meeting because of all the hack and all these things that happened. We discussed last time. We discussed with the members the move towards like a more of a media work group. We're currently not doing the clips anymore, as I mentioned before. And we're thinking actually about a way to onboard new members in a different way, because before the clipping used to be the main task to onboard people into the work group. And now we're thinking more of doing like open tasks for like a subject, and then people can submit different videos for that specific subject. That would include mixing up different videos and then just editing different content into like a one piece between 1 to 3 minutes, where the videos that are basically chosen will be posted mainly on Twitter and then on other platforms as well. We have finished actually just happened. Yeah, we just finished today. This was some work by one member called Lily Cupcake. So we finished some graphic video-like story. Like I don't know if you're familiar with Instagram, but that would be like some graphic videos as stories. We did one for SingularityNet, one for defunding, one for Rejuve, and one for another project that I don't remember now. But yeah, we're sorry for that. But yeah, we're working on a couple of things. We're also still working on summary, like editing the summary videos. Because one person was gonna do it, and then they were just like, "No, I'm not doing it anymore." Again, sometimes in a decentralized system, you may suffer with reliability. Anyway. But yeah, another person jumped in, like another work group member jumped in, and we're gonna be working on a format to make the summary videos from the town halls. I believe that will be done by the end of this week, and then the last 3 town halls will be included, and we will post these summaries. And yeah, that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll try to remember including the recap at the end.
Thank you.
Then last but not least, we get to the education workgroup. Adolf.
Yes, before I jump into the hat of education, I have a request. I am on the deep funding focus group, even though we haven't been introduced yet, which will happen, I think, this town hall or next for deep funding town hall. But there's a conflict which was solved last week. Deep funding focus group is at the same time as ambassadors assembly, and I was not able to attend it this week. And if the conflict continues, I won't be able to attend it next week. Last week, very nicely, the ambassadors assembly was moved an hour later. My request would be if the ambassadors could move their meeting an hour later to accommodate me. And if you can't, that's fine. I am not going to get the deep funding focus group to move their meeting. So that's why I put that in. Education. We had a fantastic meeting last week. Esther had put in a video in one of the channels that I picked up, and education the last week or two has started pivoting towards educating ambassadors so they can be outbound ambassadors. The feeling is that we, for the last year and a half, have been building the ambassadors' quarters, so to speak, or the house of the ambassadors. And the infrastructure is 90% there. We have a phenomenal treasury. We have video, we have writers, we have all these infrastructure things, onboarding, but we don't have anybody other than possibly Peter that can go out and do a Twitter space or go to a show and speak intelligently on the 10 spinoffs. And so education has pivoted, and we've started discussing how to create a education platform so we can educate you guys, all of you guys and you girls, generic term, you guys, excuse me, educate you so you can know about each of the spinoffs. And that includes Rejuve and NewNet and Sophia DAO and Sophia Verse and Cogito and all Jam Band and all the others, and talk about them for 2 to 3 minutes under media pressure. So some of this will be media training, so you can look in the camera, you can answer questions, you can deflect questions professionally when you don't like the question or you don't know the answer to it. And one of the things that I picked up from Esther was a powerful AI video tool Peter mentioned it earlier. It's in this side link. Haley, I'm sorry. Thank you, Peter. Not Esther. Apologies, Haley, if you're here. In video. And in 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, I put in some prompts and a video was created. I wanted a 2-minute length video on an overview of SingularityNet, with mentioning Ben Goertzel as the lead. And it put together a professional voiced out graphics video, 2 minutes in length. Peter used it a little bit later with no training, and he summarized a meeting summary in video chat, in video form. Rojo, I suggest you look at this, and I would ask if you could have some of your, and you were in the initial conversations on this project, Rojo, this initiative. If you could have some of your video people come in, because we need to produce at least 12 videos. And we're trying to come up with a similar format. So each of the training videos, and this isn't really for public consumption, no, it won't be bad if it gets out there, but each of the training videos have a similarity, so to speak. It follows a format. So when I sit down and I'm getting trained on Cogito, whatever it is, it reminds me of all the other protocols. So one of the things, and for seniors like myself, and that's anybody over 50, 55, Senior Educational Technique was a book I was funded to write by Cardano. And one of the things, the secrets to training seniors, and it goes below seniors, is the old thing of public speaking. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then remind them of what you told them. So one of the big things is you got to have references in there, so our brains, which are often like filled hard drives, can grasp it. So if I go to a Cogito training, you may want to have a reminder in there about the SingularityNet ecosystem. Helps open the brain. And that's about it. So we're going to hit that this week again, Monday, educational. Please come. And if you're interested in helping us build this training platform, definitely come. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, that concludes the workgroup overview. Let me quickly check the clock. Less than a minute remaining on the actual slot. Yeah, I do want to put a quick check if there's any right now any questions or ideas, things that need to be shared. Hogan, go for it. You have your hand up.
Hi everyone. Good evening from my end, and I really have listened to the ambassadors so far, and I really like the idea that's coming up, because I think it's really set for new users to get into the work groups and then have something doing. So after hearing Rojo speak and Kenichi made a very clever point on the Kenichi made a very clever point, and for Rojo, yeah, he said something about the videos, 1 minute to 3 minute videos, and I was thinking if we could do reels can go a long way. It serves as more like adverts on social media, so because short videos will really go far because of the video. So if you could have something of about 30 seconds here on our Instagram page, I think we're good to go. We also need designs, a lot of designs too. If you could come up with infographics, that'll be a great idea, because I think an infographics group should be here too as well, because it will really help in bringing out a lot of flyers on the page, and maybe a bit of newsletters, or maybe news on. Maybe we have a picture of Tommy and maybe, let's say, a happy holidays or something. So it's passing out an information, something, you know. it will make a lot of sense. Also, for the translation where Kenichi was speaking about, he was talking about Portuguese and Spanish. So actually, I'm still up for work. So anytime you're ready, I'm here. So thank you. That's my suggestion.
Nice. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, for sure that will get picked up. There's the video workgroup channel. I believe the current. Let me double check that. We might need after the attack. I don't think the media, or sorry, the marketing channel got reinstigated. And there's also quite a bit of talk happening in the Zoom chat, which would feel adequately put there. I'll make sure after.
Peter?
Yeah.
Perhaps I can answer a portion of
Sure,
what Hogan
sure.
said. So for the portion where it would be nice if we can have short or real videos. We actually have been doing that for the last I think 3 months or more. So we have been working on shorts and reels. We have an Instagram, TikTok, and also YouTube. We post shorts on that as well. And what we have realized doing some analysis on the numbers we're pulling in and also the type of comment and followers we're getting, what we understood is that from all that data, we're not really getting let's say the people that ideally would be interested in the project. So we kind of have a niche at this point. Perhaps in the future, this niche will become bigger and we will get more people into the products of SingularityNet. But at the moment, perhaps a lot of the people that would be interested in SingularityNet and most of these spin-off projects are tuned in Twitter. So I'm talking more AI interested people, blockchain oriented individuals. That would be mostly Twitter at this point.
Assuming it's on the same topic, Hogan, a quick reply from your side before we move on to Kenichi.
All right. I hear you very well, Grujo, and it sounds very interesting. Well, one thing I'm certain of is if you actually need a fan base on SingularityNet, it's really on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. We have a lot of content creators. We have a lot of writers and a lot of designers online. So if you actually would go with my suggestion, I would say we should re-strategize. We're going to strategize and look out for how we could come up with maybe a form we could put out for make awareness for the team, because I can see we have limited users for the ambassadors. We have limited. So I would advise we do a proper how would I call it? A proper awareness, a proper awareness where we have users to fill in the forms, and if they're interested then we could go. And also I heard about what Tommy was saying about the educational group. It was a nice one. I also would want to plead that we should also have I think I mentioned this last time. We should also have regional events for Singularity. Regional events. We should have merges. Yes, we should have merges. I told you I've attended a lot. If you want me to send in links to my profile where I do attend a lot of events here in Nigeria, you would see. Yeah, I do travel a lot. Like I said, I just got back from States. So I just got back on Sunday. So I'm in another state, precisely. So if we could do, I hosted a lot of projects as well. It's not my first time. I hosted projects. I hosted Shadow. Yes, so I hosted projects for awareness a lot. We did a lot, and should be said. We've gone far. I don't know if anyone has heard of Fluid Finance. I think it's been crashed, but you could like check it out on net. So we did a lot. Fluid, I worked on Shadow, some other projects. So in no further ado, I just want us to look into restrategizing and sending out forms to users, because it will really help. We should go around looking out for good users who also are ready to make big use of this opportunity. Yes, because we have in the Web3, it's more of the connection stuff. We have a lot to learn in the Web3, and a lot of people out there who haven't gotten this awareness. So I'll just advise that.
Yeah, good stuff. I think we will get to the event attending through the ambassador program. Right now, yeah, we're not quite there. It's not yet happening. Connected to that is like, what kind of requirements would you put to that? As Hadolf mentioned, yeah, you would need some basic knowledge at least, and yeah, how to exactly prove that? What kind of yeah, how do you even establish that? But that's a little outside of the video workgroup directly, I guess. Rohan, you have your hand up?
Yeah, I also want to make something clear. Like, I believe for SingularityNet there are two main. Oh yeah, something broke, but yeah. So there are two main, let's say, groups that we're targeting in whatever media campaign or whatever post that we're gonna post on the internet, and that's gonna be one of them are gonna be interested in the blockchain and perhaps the financial side of things, and the other one is gonna be builders, people interested in AI and just developing things on top of the technology that we have, right? Maybe there is a third, which is just people, you know, with the general curiosity about some similar project, but I'm not really considering that. And if we actually consider these two populations, like it doesn't really make sense to post anything on things like TikTok. Yeah, sorry for the noise in the background.
No, it does make sense.
But yeah, that was my point. So TikTok makes sense if you want to like promote yourself for the next generation. That does make sense in some cases. For example, if you're posting things from Sophia, yeah, video from Sophia or something, you're really promoting for the project on a larger side and kind of like promoting the idea of AGI and all these things. But if we want to actually bring in builders, bring in attraction right now for like the next, you know, couple of months, 2 years, Twitter makes more, or X at this point, right? Makes more sense, I guess.
Judith, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I was wondering if any of the work groups currently is concerned with business development. And what I was thinking is actually reaching out to other organizations for partnerships, or reaching out to influencers for content creation partnerships, or, you know, booking podcast slots where we can kind of talk about SingularityNet, or even just DMing people to even ask them directly to join SingularityNet. I don't know, is there any group currently that is concerned with business development or active outreach to really valuable organizations or influencers or potential partners?
Well, not directly. I would say, and part of that is also our mandate. Like, as ambassador program, we can't. I mean, we can connect people, of course. So we could start things, but we can't, as an ambassador program, fix partnerships for SingularityNet Foundation. That would be separate. And there's people.
I'm not thinking for the SingularityNet Foundation. I'm more thinking about the ambassador program.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood. But yeah, that does make sense. And well, there's connected. Like on incubation, for example, there's have been external experts on DAO-related topics that have been invited. Well, earlier today on the governance workgroup, we also had an RN DAO with this harmonica tool, I think it was called. So yeah, it does happen, but not in an organized, structured way. Yeah, so there's definitely room for that, I feel.
Yeah, maybe we can
if I'm
discuss
wrong,
it
anybody in the room.
in
Sorry.
marketing.
Sorry, I was talking over you and didn't get what you were saying. Apologies.
Maybe we can discuss that in the marketing guild a bit more.
Yeah, would be good. Absolutely. Kenichi, you have your hand up?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add to what Judy was asking for, I was talking about. So yeah, I was saying it's like I think last week or last 2 weeks, this the Web3 Lagos conference. I actually went and I got to meet a couple of people from Proxify DAO, which is an educational platform. They're building kind of like a machine learning educational platform to onboard people from Web 2 to Web 3, and it's also kind of like a service DAO. We had really good conversations. Also, I met some people from Bankless DAO, and I also made friends with some like ex-Bankless DAO friends, and kind of like spoke about how also I've said something about Crypto Sapiens before. So at any point in time that we're actually interested, Crypto Sapiens would love to have us on their podcast, maybe representative or something to discuss anything SingularityNet or even if it's just AI. We had a session with I can't remember the name of the founder, but has something to do with AI and Web3 gaming. So yeah, I mean, I think we're not. I think like Peter said with incubation, we have a lot of ideas on bringing people in and bring a lot of people to like do an awareness check or to even like speak on the program, maybe the podcast, the session and the likes. It's just not as organized as we would like it to be.
Yet I might add to that, but you're right. Looking at the clock, we're 15 minutes over almost, so I think it's time to wrap up the current session, or at least the recording. We can stick around for a bit of casual chit-chat after that, if you'd like to. And let me not skip on putting a little recap for today's session before finishing the recording. So yeah, basically we started out with a couple of mentions touching on the Discord attack, which sucked last week. A little reminder to vote for deep funding round 3, not actual voting, but comment on the proposals. And if you happen to know people that could be interested in joining the supervisory council election, please share them a blog post and get them up to speed on that. Then we went over the workgroup updates. A couple of callouts would be the code of conduct session tomorrow in the strategy guild. And we had quite a bit of discussion, which is for sure to be continued on decision-making models and also in relation to the governance work group, but not restricted to that. And after that, how to summarize that? Basically, we went over ideation for marketing efforts. I think that covers, broadly speaking. There's a lot of details, but for that you have to watch the whole recording. So yeah, thanks all for being here and being awesome, and hope to see you in one of the many meetings upcoming.